What is going on, guys? I can promise you, you're not gonna regret watching this video because today's gonna be a super valuable one. Not as entertaining, but I'm never entertaining, come on, guys. But it's gonna be very valuable, I believe at least. So, it's one of those weekly updates on what happened last week for me, what did I learn, and so on. But I think I had a lot of good learning lessons this week that I can share and hopefully help somebody else out with. So, I believe that this one will be really, really good. So let's recap what happened. My PSM named, or I'm not gonna say his name, my PSM, Partner Success Manager, or what some people would call a CSM, decided to leave the day, the day that I was about to tell him that he is going to have to leave and we're letting him go with a 30-day quitting notice. He decided to give his 30-day quitting notice. So that was kind of a mutual decision, although he was one who said it, which was a great thing. So that's really interesting, and that means that we were planning on hiring another PSM, but with that in mind, we're hiring 2 PSMs now. As we're scaling super quickly right now, signing 1 to 2 clients a day, we're going to need 2 partner success managers, or CSMs, as some people would have called it. So that's super exciting. We found both of the people we're gonna hire. One of them used to be an agency owner, scaled all the way up to 50K at his best month, and he is an absolute star. The second guy I interviewed a while ago, I was very skeptical to him, and I thought he was too much of a philosopher to hire him. Brought him on to a second interview now because I remember that he was really good, and he is such an A player. Joined this interview 7 minutes early. He had prepared on the company. His test assignment was really good. He was fast with everything, just overall a really, really good guy. So that's great to see. Super fun to see. With that said, we signed 4 clients, or 4 partners, not as many as we would have wanted to and had hoped for, but still a lot of good learning lessons. The main thing stopping us on the sales side was the fact that we had way too many people that were unqualified that were on the calendar. So I had a learning lesson of be clear on your rules. I'm gonna add that as one of my learning lessons. Be clear on your rules. Be clear on your rules. So we basically told the sales team, you cannot pitch anybody who's under 300k no matter what, because those leads are low quality. And then we told our setting team that, hey, you shouldn't really pitch anybody or book them if they're under 300k, but we weren't as clear to them. So they still booked some people that were on the edge, slightly under 300, and said oh yeah, sometimes I'm at 300. Then what happened was, okay, I'm gonna stop fiddling with my hair. What happened was those people hopped on the sales call with our closers, and our closers said, how much exactly did you do last month? And they're 200. And then obviously we couldn't pitch them. So we had a 50% offer rate this month so far. So that is horrible, and that's something we took care of. Plus our closers just weren't pitching enough people, so that's also another big problem. Show rate was low because we had too many people were booked out too far. People were booked out too far because we let people book out too far, and we let people book out too far because we didn't have enough availability. And the reason we didn't have enough availability the reason we were booked but not had enough shows or be packed in calendar anyways was because we were just not fast enough on what we were supposed to do. Sorry, I don't know what I did there. What I was trying to say was, the reason that we had a bunch of bookings and had to fill up a calendar but still not a lot of shows were because we were booking people up, and then nobody could book then. So we had to book people far out. But when we booked them far out, there was a low show up rate. So it was kind of a self-destroying loop. So we stopped that. Not let anybody, no matter what, book more than 72 hours out. Under no circumstances will they be booked over 72 hours out. So that was a big game changer for us that we realized that I think is going to help a lot. Now let's speak about my learning lessons. So be clear on your rules. If you got something in place, make everybody understand that thing, because if somebody tries to kind of go around the rule, then it oftentimes doesn't work very well. Secondly, I got another level of understanding for micro focus this week. I feel like I get a new understanding of focus every single week, month, and year. And this week it was, I believe that there's mega macro focus. It's life focus, business focus, what you work on in the business focus, and that is micro focus of like what you do when you work. So let me explain each one. This is a concept I really believe in and think about a lot, so I'm pretty like passionate about it. So there's like big macro focus, which is, okay, do you decide to work on a business, or do you decide to like work on your fitness, or do you decide to work on your relationships or girls, or what is your main focus overall? That's like the first one. Secondly, it's, okay, if you decide business, there's another sphere of focus in business, which is, am I working on one business or multiple businesses? If you decide one business, which is deciding to focus, there's another sphere of focus inside of that, which is, am I working on one project in this business and one department, or am I working on different projects in the business? If you manage to get that focus, you nail all of those in, then it's only what's called the micro focus left, which is what I got a better understanding of this week. So this week, I feel like you never have all focuses that I just explained fully dialed in. There's always one of them that you are a bit distracted on, at least one more than the other. And this week for me, I had all of them dialed in except the micro focus on when you work level. So like day to day, like when you actually sit down to work, how focused are you then? And what I realized was how I decided to do what's called a 1 month day. There's a video by Ryan Doris, search for 1 month day, and the video is called something like how to get more done in a month, or in 11 hours than most people do in a month. And super good video. And what he challenges you to do is put 11 hours in a day. He explains exactly how to prep for it, get more done in that 11 hours through being in a flow state than most people would do in a month. I tried it. What I was supposed to, or what I thought I would finish over the whole day, I finished in half the day. So the second half of the day became a waste of time. We're talking about yesterday. But with that said, that made me learn that, okay, when I truly need to and I truly focus, I get so freaking much done. So I went to this extreme level of, I did the first piece of work when I just woken up. I had gotten 9 hours of sleep. I literally just put on this like sleeping coat, or whatever you want to call it, nighttime coat, and I started working. I didn't change. I didn't brush my teeth. I didn't do anything. I like filled my water bottle the day before. I had already opened the tabs. I had uninstalled my like Slack and WhatsApp on my phone, or say on my computer, and I had put up a blocker so I could not download it. Like literally uninstalled it. I had opened every tab. I had put a timer on my phone for when I need to stop work, so I can interrupt my flow block and stop working, because that creates an open loop so that you want to start getting back to work right after, or right when you're back from your break. I worked for 3 hours uninterrupted, and I've never gotten as much done as that time. Every time I get distracted, I had a note block of, here's where you put down your crazy ideas, and then you can think about them after your work block, rather than trying to implement them and think about them during work. I put my phone, you guys can see that couch there. I put my phone behind that couch. I deleted all apps on my phone, and I said I didn't use my phone for those whole hours. Like even when I went down to eat, even when I went down to go on a walk, meditate, all these things, I did not use my phone. I didn't allow myself to. So I only used my phone to set a timer for when my break is done, when my work block is done. Then, with that said, I worked 3 hours. Then I meditated. I took a cold shower, and I ate some, and I refilled it, or like cleaned the dishwasher, or emptied the dishwasher, like all active recovery. Then I went into another 3 hour block, and in those 6 hours of work, I got more done than I usually do in like multiple days of deep work. And I got this a new sense of what it really takes to focus, and how focused you can be if you truly try. And it was eye-opening for me to see. And then the second half of the day, I was already done with everything I needed to get done, and therefore I wasn't I was not focused at all. I started watching a YouTube video that was really good, actually. I learned a lot from it, but then from there, I started going into texting the team, and then I went with my dad and brother, asked if I wanted to go get pizza with them, and visit my grandma. I said yes, although I truly, looking back on it, I think I shouldn't have. So that's not something I blame myself for, but something that I learned from. I shouldn't have said yes to that. And I felt like I didn't have anything clear to do. So my learning lesson was also, if you have a big day where you need to finish something, and then you have like hours set out, you need to have a backup. If I finish this thing, what am I going to work on? So that you don't end up finishing it and then having nothing to work on, because then you kill all of your productivity. I know I'm yapping a lot, but I think it's really, really good today. Like what I'm saying, I feel like it's really valuable. Now this goes into my next learning lesson, which is I don't know if you guys can see, but I feel so much more confident on camera than I've ever done before, and I'll tell you why. Sorry guys, I'll tell you why I think that is. So my learning lesson is reps, 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 reps. It's all about repetitions, all about repetition. Just reps, reps, reps after reps. I felt like I was really bad on camera, and I felt like I wasn't comfortable. I'm really good on calls. Like if you've ever had a call with me, which you might have, probably haven't. If you ever get on a call with me, you'll see I'm very confident on calls. I know how to behave because I've done over 1,000 calls. By now, I've probably done over 2,000 calls, if I had to guess. No, probably about 1,000 to 2,000 calls. So I've done a lot of calls, and I'm very confident on calls. I'll sit back, I'll listen, I know when to speak and so on. But being on camera has never been my skill set, and I know this learning lesson of repetitions and so on when it comes to work or gym or anything. But I learned it to another degree now when it came to, and I just got it reinforced when it came to camera. So this week I needed to sit on camera a lot because I needed to record. I know it's super late to do, but I recorded my video on my 2025 learning lesson, something I had been putting off and didn't have the time for, that I finally finished this week. I had recorded a video from last week's learning lessons a bit late, so I ended up doing that this last week too. I needed to record a full course on how to, or a partner's success manager onboarding course, which was what I did yesterday on that 1 month day that we just spoke about. I'm recording this right now, and I recorded a lot of like small videos to the team just explaining something. And me being on camera that much and me getting that many more reps makes me feel like I'm way more comfortable on camera than I used to be, and I don't feel like I needed to behave up, because what happened was that on camera I became self-conscious and I stopped being this confident, charismatic guy that I am. So if I look at my videos, I'm like, okay, this is not Edwin, this is somebody else. This is somebody who's a bit more not as fluent when he speaks, a bit more unconfident, a bit more strict, not as funny, but I want to be myself. I want to be this guy that I feel like I am right now. So that's another learning lesson. Next learning lesson is that your mouth gets so dry from speaking. Give me 1 second. Okay, I'm back. So that's my next learning lesson. That when you speak a lot, your mouth gets dry. No, I'm kidding. But with that said, got another understanding of reps, which goes into my next learning lesson, which is you don't have a learning lesson and then that cements into your mind for the rest of your life. No, you keep relearning the same lessons for the rest of your life. Unless you prove a lesson wrong, you just keep relearning the same lessons. The lesson about just how it's all about reps. The lesson about focus and how there's different focuses and how important micro focus is. All these lessons is not new lessons. It's the same lessons that you just keep relearning. And I'm fine with repeating the same lessons 10 times over, because people need to be reminded more than they need to be taught. And oftentimes it's not that you don't know what to do, it's just that you need to be reminded of it and you actually need to follow it. So that was a big learning lesson for me. Secondly, I think this is gonna sound pretty self-explanatory, but I had not even considered or really realized the thought of being able to hire people part-time. Like for me, it was full-time or not at all. But that becomes very weird when you wanna, for example, when you have a media buyer, you only need to hire a media buyer usually like every 3-6 months. But for me, while I'm scaling like this, I only got one media buyer right now, but I'm probably gonna need to hire one a month from now on, at least until our churn beats our sales, which is in a while. So to not get overcomplicated, I'm going to need to hire a lot of media buyers. But now we only got one and she's getting really busy. So my thought was, okay, do I hire another media buyer? Then I'm gonna have way too little work for both of them. And then I was like, oh, I don't know if I should, but she's too busy and I want to make sure that we get results, but I won't be able to afford two, and I can't have two people that barely work. So what I realized was just, it was so obvious. Why don't you just hire one of them part-time, say that it's only going to be part-time for a few weeks, and then like bring him full-time as soon as he needs, and let him know about the fact that it's going to be part-time in the beginning, but then become full-time. Next one. I can't say that I implemented this, but I realized it, which is don't stop investing in coaching. I don't want to speak about this one too much because I haven't actually implemented that learning lesson this week, but I realized that the last time I invested in coaching was Marbella, when I went to a mastermind, and I did not regret it whatsoever at that time. and I've never regretted investing in coaching. I've made decisions that I thought, or I've made investments that I didn't end up think was worth it, but I've never regretted investing in coaching and been like, oh, I shouldn't have made that one, although I wouldn't have done it again. But with that said, I only know about one coaching program that I bought that ended up being not worth it. And I probably got something in that coaching program that ended up being worth it that I just didn't see. So that's a big learning lesson for me, which is that you shouldn't stop investing in coaching because it's always worth it. You just need to change who your coaches are. The people that got me from 5 to 100, because that's another thing that I didn't even touch on that happened this week that is huge. I made my first million kroners. 1 million kroners. Kroners is the Swedish currency, and that had been a super long goal for me. I have a friend when I dropped out of high school, my only friend from high school that I still like, he said, okay, when we were getting, what am I getting from you when you do your first million kroners, which is like 100k or 90k specifically? And he said, or I said, what do you think you deserve? And he's like, I don't know. And I was like, I think you deserve a piece of sushi, because he loves sushi. And he's like, I think I deserve 100 pieces of sushi. And I was like, sure, brother, you're gonna get 100 pieces of sushi when I hit my first million kroners. I did that this week. This weekend we're gonna go eat 100 pieces of sushi. But that was a very cool thing that happened. But what I was gonna say is, the coaches that got me from 5 to 30, it's not the ones that did get me from 30 to 100. And between 30 and 100, I haven't had that many coaches. I really just had like Cameron England and Alex Mosey. And I realized that now when I'm at 100, I need to start learning from people to be able to get to 500. Because I know so many people that were stuck at 100 or never got past that point that I'm at right now. And I can't, every single step because I've grown pretty fast, if I can say myself. This last year I grew from this time last year I was at 3, right now I'm at 100 or 90, probably gonna hit 120. So every single year I've had these, what's the best way for me to put it, so every single month I've been at a revenue level where I know that there's people who plateau at this revenue level for months and years, but I've just plateaued at it for maybe a month, maybe no time at all, and then I've scaled to the next one. I know people that were stuck at 10k, I know people that were stuck at 30, 50, 70, now 100, and I don't want to fall in any of these buckets. So to not do that, I want to make sure that I keep getting new coaches, new education. So now I'm gonna need people who've been at 100 who can get me to 200, because I think if I only look at the people who got to 150, if I don't want to sound like I have an ego, but I'm relatively very, very close to 150. Like, I'm probably gonna hit 150k in the next 2 weeks. I'm not kidding. I'm probably gonna hit, no, that's not true. In the next 3 weeks I'm probably gonna hit 150 in the next 3 weeks. So I don't want to be learning from people who are there, because I am so close to there. I don't think I need to. I might be wrong and I might be having an ego now, but I think that I don't need to change anything. I just need to keep doing what I'm doing to get there. But I need to change something to get to 200, 250, 300, 500. And I want to learn from people who's at 100, 200, or say 200, 250, 300, 500. And I want to learn from those people and not stop investing in coaching. So I'm gonna buy an hour of Stevie Johnson's time for 2 reasons. Number one, I want to learn from him how he gets his product as dialed in as it is, because I got a better sales team than him right now. But he got this guy, if you guys don't know, Stevie Johnson is a big agency owner, probably the biggest. After this guy called Rich Fiola, he's the biggest like SMMA that I know of that do a traditional SMMA without a call center. He got like a 6% churn, and he has so many ISAs. He pays them so well, and he has such a high ticket thing with so low churn. So he got really dialed in back end, and he's been around for like 7 years, 500k a month, real shit. So I want to buy an hour of his time for 2 reasons. Number one, I want to build a relationship with him and kind of get that connection with him and make him say, okay, this guy's going somewhere. I want to build a connection with him. I want him to get that from me. And then secondly, I want him to give me all the sauce that he has. So I'm going to buy an hour of his time. It's going to cost $1,500, but I think it's going to be the best investment ever. Secondly, I'm going to probably this year invest in Agency Founders, which is a coaching program for like multi 7 and even 8 figure agencies that I definitely want to go to in my opinion. Then maybe later this year, I'm probably gonna invest in Eddie Malouf's coaching. Eddie Malouf is probably he's the second biggest guy. He doesn't do a traditional SMMA anymore though. He does like bigger things with bigger brands nowadays. So that's that. I'm looking forward to start investing in more coaching. But that said, right now our profits are pretty shit and I don't have a bunch of capital. So I'm gonna have to wait for a little bit of time before I actually start doing it and start saving up like a big war chest of money. But once we have that dialed in and I feel like I have the money to invest, I'm probably gonna start investing in coaching to keep on growing. Now I also have so many different things that I need to implement, so I don't see the point in it too much because I also know what I need to do and I want to start off with this. And whenever I feel like my to-do list gets a bit dry, then I want to start working or speaking to people like that. This one is really gonna hit home. This one is gonna hit home so bad. I want everybody to listen up with this one. If you're making above 30k a month and you have a team, this is probably gonna be even better. Probably my biggest learning lesson and most important one this week. Everybody has so many things they need to do. They got like a long list of things and they kind of work on it and they do that thing and then that thing and that thing and they don't think too much about what is highest priority. But what you prioritize is what you spend your time on, and what you spend your time on, as time is your most valuable asset in the world, it's time and money. In my opinion, that are the two most valuable assets. And if you spend those two on things, but you don't spend too much time actually figuring out what you should spend time on, I don't know if you see what I mean, but let me put this in a better way. Spend more time figuring out what to spend your time on. Spend more time prioritizing. And here's how I learned to prioritize. So this is like a step-to-step guide on how to prioritize. Put everything you need to do and you know you should do in your business and things that need to be improved in your business. And it can also be in your personal life. I added to my list getting a new office because the office that I'm working at or my co-working space is not letting me focus it the way I want to. So like all of the things you need to get done. All of it. Just list it all out. Don't put it in a rank or anything like that. Just list it all out. And then you look at it and you're like, with the time, resources, and money I have, before you do that, you put an estimate on how long each thing will take. So how many hours will it take and how many days will it take? So how many days will it actually take to complete? So for example, one of my things is product, hire and train the new PSMs and fully ramp up that process. I expect it to take 14 days to do, but I also expect it to take roughly 40 hours of work. So that's two different things, right? How many days will it take to complete and how many actual hours of work will it take? You write those both down. So for example, find a new office. Expect it to take 5 days if I really focus on it, and 10 hours including testing and moving in. So you list out everything. And then you look at, okay, how long is this going to take? How many hours is it going to take? And then you say, if there was only one thing here that I could get done based on how long it takes and what it is, what is highest priority? And it's probably going to jump at you. It's going to be very clear what the thing is. If it doesn't jump at you, then you just keep looking at it until it jumps at you. And you prioritize, okay, the thing that I think is going to have the highest impact is this thing. And then you put that thing on the top of the list. You don't even prioritize everything else. You put one thing on the top of the list and you say, I'm not going to do anything else until I finish this one thing. Sometimes though, if you got a bigger team, it's often that you need other things to line up for that thing to happen. So then you look at your list again and you say, okay, what's the second biggest priority thing on this list? And then you say, okay, it's this thing. Then you have that as a backup. So you work at this thing as soon as you're done with the first thing. But if you ever have a lag of you waiting for somebody else to get you something, whatever, then you also work on that second thing. But you have the first thing, you write that on your wall, you do whatever you need with that thing, you write it on your forehead, I don't care. But you don't do anything else, then work on that thing until it's done. And you put 100% focus towards that thing of like, I'm not gonna stop working until this thing's done, and I'm not gonna work on anything else. And you can choose how extreme you want to go. But for me, it's like I don't let myself work on any other part of the business except for like meetings that are recurring and meeting with my PSM team until I finished this thing. And then I go to the next thing and I finish that. And it's utter focus. And the reason that you do this, I got this from Homosi, I won't credit it myself, but the reason you do this is for two reasons. Number one, focus is so much more efficient than multitasking. It's just obvious, everybody knows it, and it gives like 5x the output. Secondly, if you can put your mind towards one thing and nothing else, then you start have thoughts about just that one thing, and that's gonna help you proceed that thing. and make it work faster. Secondly, when you see all these other fires burn, because everything else on your list will burn. Like if you got a big business, for example, for me on my list, I'll be transparent and write some things out. Okay, so I'm just gonna start writing on the list. Get prepaid appointments from all partners. Product, meaning hire and train PSMs. Implement all my ideas on the PSM side. Make PSMs go through the sales calls of every new partner. Sell harder on prepaid appointments in the future, and so on. Okay, that's the second thing. Third thing is find a new office. And fourth thing is I say focus. Review their calls, work on the quality of the lead, increase the contacted rate ratio, decrease speed to lead, and so on. So these are all things that I need to get done. And all of these fires I see burning. I see myself go to my office and I see myself not being able to focus. I see my partner success management be shit. I see my ISAs set low quality leads. Like I see all these things burning. But here is the number one biggest thing, which is for me right now, by the way, that is getting prepaid appointments from all partners, because then I'm gonna have the cash flow to make everything else easier. Okay, so that's that. But before I actually say that, I wanted to say, when I look at it, I see what's the one thing that if I solve this, it's probably gonna help out with other things, make the other things easier, and maybe even eliminate some other things. And for me, that is get product, hire, train PSMs, and make that PSM side and PS side really dialed in. So I'm gonna dedicate the next, for me, I wrote down that they're expecting to take 14 days and 40 hours, so one full work week. Or for me, that's like I work 60 hours a week approximately, so that's just under a work week for me, or sorry, just a third of a work week for me, but still a lot of time and of like focus on that. So probably a week of work, but 2 weeks to actually get done as I need to. There will be a delay with training people. So with that said, what I'm trying to say with that is I'm just gonna focus on that and nothing else in the whole business. Like nothing else that will be worked on by me. All the other people in my business will work on different things, but my focus will just go to that. And then I see the ISA things, all these other things burn, and I'm gonna feel the need to actually get this done fast so I can do the other things. And I'm gonna feel the need to do it well, because I'm never gonna want to go back to this thing. So that's my next learning lesson. Hopefully that was helpful. I might just have yapped, but for me that was super good. Second is the money is made, or not second, we're at like the seventh, but the next learning lesson is the money is made in the super boring, tedious work. No, you know the work that you really don't want to do, you really don't, that is exactly where the money is made. For me, that was recording videos. Like there were so many videos I need to record, not just YouTube videos, but videos to the team, Loom videos, that I hate recording Looms. I prefer doing calls, but Looms are way better than video calls because they're more efficient. It's recording a course. It's all these things that I wrote on that list. Going through another 30 applications just because you haven't quite found the perfect whatever yet. Those are the kind of boring, tedious things that you really don't want to do, but you really need to do if you're gonna succeed. And that's where the money is made. And for me, the biggest thing on that list was what I call the daily follow-up list. So I got a list of leads of all partners that we worked with, all partners that passed, all potential partners that I never closed. It's even on that list people that I want to hire in the future. This whole list with these people that I think are like people I should follow up with each day. I know that I should follow up with that list, but I hate doing outreach and I hate cold calls, and I got a bad relationship with cold calls in my mind from having done over 15,000 in my life. I have a really bad feeling about it. So because of that, I procrastinate calling that list, and I've not called that list for 2 weeks, but it's on my calendar schedule to do every single day. And that's a boring, tedious work that I know that probably makes me $500, if not $1,000, maybe $2,000 an hour doing that, because I know that if I get one of those deals in, it's made up all the money that I spent doing that for a whole week, for a whole month. But I just don't call that list enough. I've called it once since I decided that I'm gonna start calling that list, and it's been a month since I should have started. I've called that list once in a whole month, and it's been on my calendar every single day. That's how bad it is. That's my boring, tedious work, me being transparent with you. What is that for you? Second one, or why do I keep saying second one? Like next one is what I'm trying to say, is know your priorities. I'm not going to tell the whole story too in depth. This is probably one of those stories that I'm going to tell for the rest of my life that happened this week. But all in all, we lost $20 per year $20 million per year client. Literally a partner that makes $20 million per year. So they would have been our second biggest partner. You know how we lost them? Through my YouTube channel. Not the one you're watching right now, but the one called Edwin Staley or Edwin Anderson. They did research on the company. They had said yes. They were 100% sure that they wanted to work with us. And they were like, yeah, for sure, we're good. They were just doing some research on us, as you know, any big business does, to make sure they were legit before they actually make the payment. And they were like 100% ready. They found good stuff about my closer. They go to our website, they see my name, they search for Edwin Anderson at PointX to just do some research to find my LinkedIn, looks good. Then what they found is my YouTube. And on my YouTube it says I'm making 50,000 a month as a 16-year-old, because I was making 50k a month last time I posted there. I am posting like all these things about, like there's a video for me a year ago and a month ago now where I say, here's my plan to get to 5k a month. And obviously I wasn't at 0 then. And they're like, this doesn't seem like a legit company. So that cost me a $20 million a year client. So that would probably have made us like in the neighborhood of $10,000 to $100,000, maybe, that partner, if I just had to give an estimate. So very expensive lesson to learn. Probably my most expensive lesson, except for the ignorance depth of me not knowing how to make $1 billion a day. Except for that ignorance depth, this is probably the biggest lesson I've had to learn. The most expensive lesson. And what's the lesson from that? Is it that I should remove my YouTube channel? No, I didn't remove it. All I did was make my videos unavailable. But my lesson was know your priorities. And I know that if I would have known my priorities, what I was saying is, if I would have known my priorities, I would have known that for me, my business's success is more important than me getting famous right now. I thought that I could manage both, but I couldn't. So, at least not as well as I could focus one thing. It's about focus again, right? So my priority is the YouTube, and I know it's my business, and I know that when my business is big enough I can post those videos, but right now it's not. Right now I don't have the proof that I need to be able to post there, and therefore I made all my videos private, and I'm not gonna focus on that. I'm not gonna be recording too many videos. I'm gonna be recording these kind of videos but not trying to get famous. So I'll maybe record a few and then just make them unlisted and then be able to post them so that I have proof of what I've done in the past. But all of that to say that I am not going to focus on anything right now. Not fitness, not relationships, nothing but the business, because that's what I care about the most. Next one. Don't change the plan. Your plan didn't suck. You just didn't stick it out. I love this one. Like, I realized that if I would just have, like, I always set goals and then write a plan on, like, this is what I need to do this week to hit this goal. This is what I need to do next week, and so on. And then I look at the plan next month and I'm like, no, I didn't. Did I hit my goal? For example, last month I had a goal for 100k last month. I hit 50, so I wasn't even close. And then I was like, okay, was it an unrealistic goal? And then I look at my actions and I was like, no, it's just that my actions weren't here. So your plan didn't suck. You just didn't stick it out. If you're watching this and you're at 0 or less than 10k a month, I can say this. And I know you're not going to believe me now, but for you to get to 10k a month, all you need to do is do 200 cold calls a day in a good niche, like a home improvement niche. You need to know decent English, like you can have worse English than me. You just need to have good enough English for somebody to understand you. If you do 200 cold calls a day for 6 months, I can virtually guarantee you that you're going to make 10k a month. If you don't, reach out to me personally and I'll help you get there, because then you're doing something seriously wrong. But I genuinely believe that if you do all those things, it's impossible for you to not get there. And that plan isn't bad. And if you start following that plan, you're probably not going to hit 10k a month anyways. But it's not because the plan doesn't work. It's because you don't stick it out. And that's my learning lesson. So I'm good at setting goals and making plans, but I'm bad at sticking them out. Or I was bad. I don't want to label that over myself anymore. So that's something I'm going to work on. Making sure that I actually do what I'm supposed to do. And I follow the plan. When you get this feeling of, I don't know if this team member is good enough, let them know how you feel. That's my next learning lesson. Whenever you're like, this person is kind of slacking, this thing is not doing well enough, this thing is like not being done properly, let the person know right away. Especially if you plan off, potentially firing them, even if it's just the first thought. The reason for that is if you don't take the time to actually talk with them, it's not gonna get better. I promise you. I would never let something go and then had the person not get any better. Like never, ever. If you keep it to yourself and wait for it to be better and or think like, oh, I'm just gonna need more time to take this decision, you're wrong. It's not gonna get better with more time. Like it's wrong. It's straight up wrong. So you need to let the person know. If in 7 days after you letting them know, if it hasn't gotten better, you need to let them go. It's that simple, and it sounds very simple, and it works, but it's just really uncomfortable to do. So whenever, for example, it was with my PSM, he started struggling a month ago. I should have said to him a month ago, if you don't change this and this and this in 7 days, you're not gonna be here anymore. I should have seen if he changed them. If he tried but didn't succeed, should have let him go there, or gave him a notice at least. If he did improve them, then I should have given him another week and said, okay, you got another week, like you're good to go. Just keep up what you're ever doing, and then keep giving him another week forever until he starts messing up again. And then if he didn't try at all, then you know that obviously it's, and if he didn't change anything, then it wasn't a good fit. Another example of this is my team member. He's called Jackson, and he is a very hardworking guy, and he's an ISA at the company, and he wants to grow into a leadership position in the company, but I don't think he has what it takes right now. So rather than me just keeping that to myself and feeling bad, I thought about, okay, what's the thing stopping him from being able to grow there? I saw a few things, I told him those, and then we had this conversation. He really appreciated it, and then afterwards I saw him get this not negative attitude, but complaining attitude, and I wanted to call him out on it right away because I knew that if I didn't say anything, it was not gonna get better. So I'm gonna read out what I told him. Hey brother, take this the right way. I say it as feedback because I know you want to get better and constantly improve. You come across as complaining quite a lot. I love when you give feedback and come with concerns, but there's a right way to do it and there's a wrong way to do it. So I'm pointing towards two main things. In the call we had yesterday, I asked you for thoughts on the call we reviewed. You went on a 3-minute rant with your concerns. What's stopping you guys from booking more appointments, low pickup rates, etc., etc. Now, I don't get me wrong. I love feedback. I love this feedback, but it's the right thing in the wrong time. I'll repeat: right thing, wrong time. When I ask for a call review, it's not the right time to give feedback. Feedback given at the wrong time comes across as complaining. Secondly, small texts and sentences that overall don't bring any positivity are quite common from you. An example, this was what he had written this morning. Okay, so he wrote, wasted 60 minutes with a lady nurturing a perfect combo and putting up with her bullying and hitting on my accent just for her to tell me at the end of the call that she thought it was free. Or when I started a call and you said, and asked how you're doing, and you say, tired, been getting a bunch of no's for the last 8 hours. Or whenever we do a role play and you hang up in the middle of the call and say, oh, that's what the lead would do. To be clear, it's not that you should suppress your negative feedback. It's just that you want to know when to play your cards and how to play your cards. These are not the right times. Feedback at the wrong time just turns into complaints, and your overall complaints build for a negative culture and vibe. The reason I say this is because I want to see you win, and as you know, for you to be a better manager, I'll repeat that. The reason I say this is because I want to see you win, and for you to be a manager, you can't be spreading negativity. Scott never does, I never do. The same manager that will have in a few months never will. Hopefully you. So don't take this wrong way, man. I know I want the best for you, so I'm just saying this as constructive feedback to you. Now, if that, and then I pointed upwards, was the wrong way to give feedback, what is the right way? Sending a text or taking a call one-on-one with me when it's just you and the manager there, or I'll repeat that. Sending a text or talking over a one-on-one call when it's just you and the manager there, or just the person and that you want to give the feedback to and you there. That's when it's the right way. Then saying the feedback in a non-complaining but rather objective way, and staying on topic, going from one thing to another thing, solving that one thing, then going to the next one, not just rambling on with all of your feedback. This is the way that true managers and leaders do it. And with the small negative comments, I know that they're not feedback but rather just complaints. So let's just skip them all in all. I know that you say them to be funny or have something to say because you want to share it, but transparently, I can take my nice hat. If I can take my nice hat, let me try again. If I can take my nice hat off for a minute, nobody really finds it funny. Negativity ain't funny. Give me your thoughts on this feedback that I just gave you, man. And if you have any real serious pieces of feedback or concerns, please bring it up here. I'm all ears. That was a very long text. Some people would have called that an unnecessarily long text. I think it might have been, but I think that it was worth it. I think it was very well worth it. Then I wrote this to him, or then he wrote this to me. That's on me. My thought process was, if I prepare for the meetings, and what I thought was, sorry, let me repeat this. I can't speak right now. My thought process was, if I prepare for the meetings, and that was what I thought of to maximize the amount of we can make with each partner. But you're right, it was wrong place at wrong time. Hanging up in the middle of the role plays because the lead would do it respectfully. Though I feel like I feel like a lot of scripts being said is unnatural, just because I feel like they're overall negative towards the rapport building. If I heard that as a prospect, I'd definitely hang up. I'm being pragmatic, and I don't want to give off the wrong impression. Practice should be 10 times harder than the real scenario, so that when we jump off it feels like child's play. Again, this is on me though. Constructive criticism would work better than me just hanging up in a role play. And then he said, I'll cut out all the negative stuff. That will be my focal point this week. So he gave me his thoughts back, and I thought this was so valuable. I know it took like 10 minutes to explain, but I thought it was so valuable. And I think if you guys go about, like, I don't know if you guys saw that. Let me actually show how long the text was, because it's quite long. It's quite extremely long. Look at this. This is all the things I wrote, just for one piece of feedback to a team member. And I think when you spend time to give somebody that kind of feedback, and you spend the time to actually give somebody that much caring and thought and honest feedback, it's very hard for the person to not take it the right way. It's very hard for the person to not feel like they're cared about. And it oftentimes gets very improved. If I didn't say anything to this guy, it was also of him improving this. Probably 0%. But that's my thing that I wanted to bring up from day one. And from why I even brought this point up in the first place. Me saying this to him makes him understand this, and now he's not going to do it again. And then if I ever see him bring negativity or feedback, or complaints in a call, I'm just going to text him privately on Zoom, a direct message saying, hey, cut out the complaints, or cut out the negativity, or hey, remember what we spoke about. And then he's going to fix that forever. If he doesn't fix it, then I would have known to let him go. Imagine that compared to me not saying anything. And yes, it sounds easy, but it's hard to do, I know. But you need to be willing to do that if you want to succeed. That's my biggest learning lessons. Let me know if you have any. Yeah, that's it. Take care. Goodbye.